Welcome everyone to What the Force, and welcome to our Clone Wars special report. I'm Marie Claire Gould, and with me for every one of these episodes is Kyle Gould.
An introduction is, of course, the only way to begin something properly, but you have already done so and shown to me all your weaknesses. I believe this entire experience will be enlightening.
I need to play some organ music behind you. That was your Thrawn!
Yes, indeed.
So Grand Admiral Thrawn in the house.
The Emperor has seen fit to bestow upon me titles. Want that off?
Because it'll be intermittent.
Probably won't be, but yeah.
Yeah, and there was actually, Thrawn Alliances? Thrawn Allegiance? The second Thrawn book that came out takes place partially back in the Clone Wars with Anakin and Thrawn running around. Very appropriate to the times. Being the Clone Wars.
I kind of ship him and Hera.
Wow, problematic shit. No, I totally can see you doing that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of do. For bad guys, he's a really good bad guy.
Hot Thrawn. Yeah. This is the thing. Okay. We are on Star Wars Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 7, called Dangerous Debt.
Mm-hmm.
Was it dangerous?
I generally don't think about the title of these shows.
I mean, they haven't been so applicable yet.
I just, other than A Distant Echo,
mm-hmm.
I have not felt
Which was
particularly
an excellent
inspired
pun.
or
interested
by any of these titles. I'm always more interested in the spoiler at the start of the show.
The fortune cookie?
Yeah, everybody calls it that. I'm trying to find some new way to term it. I feel like it's like the morality of the episode.
Yeah, it's always like the morality of the episode, yeah. So this week's morality take was who you were does not have to define who you are.
Who you were. Every time I read it, I was like, I had to turn it into a song.
Okay, so this is like such a Star Wars-y thing to do, especially with like the concept of redemption and, you can move forward, but it feels like out of sync with how people or how Tross has happened. Like it feels just people are constantly defined by who they were. I just, because people can't get over who you were in the past ever. It feels like now in Star Wars.
Yeah. And I was thinking of the exact opposite too, where like you could be this superstar good person for like the last decade, have done all this humanitarian work, and you do one thing wrong on social media or one thing wrong that the public gets their glimpses and their clutches into, and you're like canceled.
Yeah, also that, like, you mean like real life.
Yeah.
I was talking about it in Star Wars universe. But yeah, no, it's actually like it's individual moments that can change who you are. And maybe you're not actually who you are. But oh man, this is a hard one to like, I don't know, swallow.
Right. So if we break it down philosophically and psychologically, what we're trying to say is you are still you. You are this. You are a state of being. You are a person. You are. And the things that you have done do not define who you are.
Oh, God. Okay.
I don't know if it's trying to say that after we watch this episode.
Like it. So, oh my God. Okay, we have to come back to this and have this discussion. I
mean like the episode does?
I mean, we have to have this discussion at the end of the episode, but literally society doesn't care who you are on the inside. It only cares about what you do. Right? You are only judged by your actions towards the world and external choices that you make. And Like, you could be the best person and like, think all the best thoughts, but if you never behave, actually do actions that reflect that, then nobody will think you are a good person. It's I don't know what to say about this one yet.
Leads into that whole ends justifying means thing.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a lot of that conversation in this episode, like Rafa especially, right? Okay, so generally, what did you think? I heard your reaction after you watched it today, because we're now around each other all the time.
It's true. It's true. We live
But
2 feet away from each other.
We don't watch the episodes together because usually
I'd say we spend like 20 plus hours within 2 feet of each other.
It's a good thing I love you.
Okay. I got no response to that.
And you bathe regularly. I'm proud of you for that.
That is a lie. And thank you for sharing that on the podcast, that I bathe regularly. I just don't sweat over much.
You don't smell. You're a non-smeller. It's nice.
Yeah. I don't move a lot, so it's hard not to really get too sweaty.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I've worn the same clothes all week. Like 8 days in a row now. The same t-shirt, like during the day. Same t-shirt, same pants. 8 days in a row. Different sweater.
No, you're not.
I know, but you know what? That was the me of the past. That was who I was. That doesn't define who I am.
You were a smelly person. No, I'm just kidding.
I could easily have a shower and wear something different tomorrow and I'd be a completely different person.
I don't know where we're going with this. I'm sorry.
Well, let's jump into the very first scene of the show.
Okay.
Which is moments later.
I know, it's like, what? No, it's dark now. So
true, but it is like moments later.
Yeah, literally it just leads right in. Like, they could do a supercut of this arc and be fine.
Oh, we got the little snippet 20-second version of the previous episode, and I felt like they hit every single main point from the last episode.
Plot of the
it
was a really good summary, actually.
Yes, it really was. For anyone who is not watching this and now gets to watch them in binge form, I feel like you're getting a really great movie.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna get a great movie with these, opening credit, end credit breaks, because it just flows so naturally from one moment to the next.
Mm-hmm. They're in prison.
Yes. Well, I mean, the tractor beam has been engaged, and that's, like, as I said, never a good thing. You never say, it's never like anybody says that in any science fiction, automatically it means bad things for our heroes.
And they immediately have their, like, blaming each other moments while they're in prison or in the jail cell, because this is the Pikes. It's probably not a real prison. It's just probably one of those fake prisons.
Is it? It sure seemed like a real prison with a lot of cells. Like, so many cells.
I mean, if you're going to be a drug lord and people are going to owe you things, I suppose it's more efficient just to own a prison.
I guess. It just seems like I really want to delve into these Pikes, because they're not very interested in killing people. They don't really want to kill any of these people.
Torture people, sure.
Yeah.
They're all about the torturing. Maybe they consider everybody slightly useful.
They didn't even want to do the torture themselves. No, they have a droid to do that for them.
Yeah, it was very, like, they don't... Maybe other...
Maybe they're just, like,
germaphobe?
The good drug lords.
Yeah. Or they've already enacted social distancing.
I don't... They put those 3 people in a cell together. That's not true. So we have our hero, Ahsoka Tano.
Yes.
And the Martez sisters.
Rafa and Trace, yes.
In jail.
Yes.
And I have to start to wonder, and a lot of people have been wondering this on the internet too, who are these adventures about? Because the previous Bad Batch episodes we got, you had thought they were going to be about Cody and Rex. It turns out to be about these 4 guys you'd never met before.
Yeah, but it was still about Rex and Echo, actually.
True, exactly.
In the end.
Yeah, and it's about how those 4 guys are a divergence in the path for Echo and Rex.
Yes.
So we have to tell the story of the Martez sisters in order to do something for Ahsoka Tano.
Mm-hmm.
And that leaves me a little worried.
You think they're gonna die?
It seems Star Warsian to do that.
Son of a bee. I don't want them to die. Thank you very much.
It's not very Clone Wars, though.
It's odd. It is odd. I have to admit. I think it's pretty clear that the Martez sisters are there to, slap Ahsoka in the face with all of the shadows that she has collected over the course of her Jedi life, basically, from when she was a small kid all the way until she left the Jedi Order. We have several things that are brought up, like, for example, the whole conversation in the jail cell right off the bat about, it gets brought up, like, what do you think, you're kind of a Jedi? And then it goes right into the argument after they have their initial conflict.
So funny, because, what are you, some kind of Jedi? I could be. And then it's like, don't even play at that, sister. And I was...
Yeah, it's like, that's like saying,
wow.
What are you, a cop?
Yeah, but more than that, too, because it wasn't, you'd have thought they make the Jedi comment, and then it leans right into Ahsoka. They make the Jedi comment, and it leans right back into the Martez sisters.
Yeah.
And we get this story?
Yeah.
My heart.
Yeah.
These poor girls.
I have so much to say about this part.
I
the
have
summary
feelings.
Is, after the episode, Hostage Crisis, which is in the first season, it's the last episode in the first season, where Cad Bane holds the Senate actually hostage. It's actually one of my favorite episodes because Anakin gives Padme his lightsaber. It's really romantic and also super weird, and then he has to go and be who's the guy from what's the Christmas movie where they blow up Nakamoto Tower?
Bruce Willis?
Yeah. But what's his character's name? Ugh.
Bruce Willis?
Die Hard. Okay. It's like Anakin has to become Die Hard and rescue everybody from the Senate building from the hostage crisis. That's because he doesn't have his lightsaber, so he has to go and climb down the elevator shaft and go and beat up people individually and crawl through the ducts and stuff like that.
John McClane?
Oh.
I feel like his name is John McClane.
It is John McClane.
Woohoo!
The Christmas movie that isn't really a Christmas movie, but people call it a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that. And then Zero the Hutt is released from prison because Cad Bane, this is a very convoluted plan. I'm going to blow up the Senate, blow up all these senators, so you'll release Zero the Hutt. He takes Zero the Hutt away. And the next time we see a continuation of this storyline, it's actually in third season, 9th episode of the Clone Wars, which is called Hunt for Zero. That's actually when we get the introduction to Quinlan Vos for the first time, which is cool. He's a very cool guy. We get the full Dark Disciple book later on with him and Ventress hanging out. But we don't actually see the incident that Rafa is actually talking about when she's explaining the situation and what happened to her parents. So her parents, when Zero was escaping with Cad Bane, Cad shot a transport ship while the Jedi...
Like a cab.
What?
Like a cab.
Yeah, like a cab. And it crashed into, one of the porthole areas, probably where the, near 1313, and ran right into where the Martezes were living.
No, a Jedi made a choice.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Yes, that was Luminara Unduli.
Yes. She's super relevant, too, in her irrelevancy.
Well, she's used as a plot device. Her corpse is used as a plot device in Rebels, too.
Yeah, I feel like not just her corpse, but we get a connection between her from Attack of the Clones into Clone Wars, and then a through line into Rebels. And I think there's a definitive there's a reason they used Luminara Unduli as the Jedi who made the choice.
Yeah, there has to be a reason. Well, and also what's really interesting is she is Barriss Offee's master.
Yes.
And Barriss turns to the dark side.
Yep. And Luminara is one of the ones that chooses to be there be the judge of Ahsoka's trial.
Yep.
So, what a problematic character.
Well, and also, like, she is very cut and dry. She has no middle path when it comes to being a Jedi. It is just, you know, the greater good. Always the greater good. And she had to make a choice. And the line that she said, I had to make a choice. The Force will be with you.
But don't worry. The Force is with you.
The Force is with you.
Don't worry.
Like, the Jedi are douchebags.
Some of them.
Yeah. Well, and dogmatic, especially.
Yes, certain of them.
Yes.
I think that Luminara falls into the Mace Windu type of Jedi training and mindset and methodology, that they're always mindful of this moment only, with no real concern or care for what the future may hold of it. They weigh things in this moment as to whether it is good or bad. And there are benefits to that. They don't allow the past to predicate, but they also don't allow, because they're not allowing the past to inform their present, they have no care for the future.
Yeah. Well, and it it's like slippery slope. Like, oh, everything I do is right because I'm an instrument of the Force. Bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but no. This is what is, like, so interesting, because it is literally presented as like not the right response.
Yeah.
Like, it is presented in the show this way, and that is so fascinating to me. And Ahsoka is confronted with the truth that all of the things that she has perhaps perceived as good things that she has done over the time that she has been a Jedi, and during the Clone Wars especially, this puts a lens on that and says, everything you did may have been for the sake of the light, but there might have been evil consequences or bad consequences out of that, because every action has both good and bad consequences. You just can't control all of them.
Yeah, well, everything has a cost.
Yeah.
And some things cost more than others, but the cost is not always
something that you can pay yourself.
Right. And it's not always equitable.
Yeah. And, like, this will lead to further conversations, because it's like the morality discussion that started last episode between her and Rafa is just, like, continuing on.
And then gets stymied immediately, because why? Torture time.
Because torture time. Yeah.
And then we get not one, but two lengthy hallway scenes, which are like, why am I getting 10 seconds of hallway scenes?
It was odd. I think it's only there to show how cool the Pike's prison is.
Yeah, Pike prison.
It's cool.
I
thought the designs were really neat. Like, you had the cool, almost like bug-like force fields type thing for the prisons. You had, like, how do prisons keep Jedi in when they can just, like, use the Force to depress buttons?
Exactly.
Anyways.
I don't think the Pikes were ever planning on holding Jedis in prison.
No.
But it was cool that it was all ray shielding.
Yeah.
That was really neat.
Yeah. We arrive at the torture chamber. We have this really cool, weird droid.
We get old man disfigured Igor droid.
Yeah.
Holy.
And just, like, his little fingers that are shocking and, like, shock you.
I don't like him.
No,
I don't like his legs. I don't like how his arms work. And his, like, he was like Frankenstein's monster in design.
Yeah.
He was so 1920s, electro... Art Deco style, and he did not fit with the Pike's general design.
And he had, like, the protocol droid, like, I'm supposed to interact with humans and make you feel comfortable. I'm supposed to look semi-human, but he didn't. Like, it was very off-putting. It was well done, because it was very, like, scary. Yeah.
I didn't like him.
Yeah.
I still don't like him. And Rafa put up a good fight and apparently revealed nothing.
Yeah.
So they take her back and they throw her back in the cell, and they take Trace. And I was like, and now we get to the point where, okay, so, you may not like Trace out there in the world. You may think that Trace is a bad character. But Trace makes decisions much more rapidly than we probably think she should. But that's what also leads to awesomeness.
Oh my God, she was so cool. I love, okay, so I have to talk about the Martez sisters because they're coded as teenagers.
Are they?
I at least Trace is coded as a like late teen, like 17-year-old.
I felt like they were in their 20s.
I don't know.
Because they own their own shops. And
I mean,
she's built a whole ship at this point.
But have they had a choice? Because it was like 3 years ago that this happened.
Sure, but it feels like it was even longer ago that it happened. It feels that way. Because Ahsoka's grown up in that time, too.
Yeah. Ahsoka was quite young when
Zero
was around, yeah.
So I do feel that these women are in their 20s because they own property. They've had chance to, establish
pretending
themselves.
To pass out as a distraction is quite literally something I would have done in like an RPG or a role-playing game as a teenager.
Yes.
And like that felt very real to me.
It was I liked it because it was not what you would have seen from like a Princess Leia or a Padme.
Yeah.
Right? She has this, it's a dump the spice response to things. Oh, faint. Put my hand to my forehead and fall over. But I'm not. And
now I go in. Like, and what I appreciated about this episode, and we see this like with Ahsoka, we see this with Rafa and Trace, is that all of the fights are dirty.
Oh, so
all of them, like
dirty.
all of them get hit, they get punched, they get thrown. Like even Ahsoka takes like a ton of hits.
And she fights the 4 Pike upstairs eventually. For what appeared to be zero reason.
Just 'cause Pikes, I suppose.
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe she was supposed to be up there to push a button to open a door.
She was supposed to open the gate, yeah.
Okay.
And
did she ever do it?
We assume so.
I watched it twice and I never saw her push the button to open the gate.
The gate opened, so
it's true.
Yeah, we can assume. Certain things we can assume. And so like as they're escaping, so Rafa and Ahsoka get out of their prison cell.
Yes.
We see kind of these dual stories of escape.
Easy mode.
Easy, yeah. We have this like ongoing commentary of the moral questions going on, and it's like a back and forth conversation between it's almost like the conversation that Ahsoka is trying to impart on Rafa is something that she needs to say to herself about her and Anakin. Because we've already had this tie-in in this arc of episodes that Anakin is her older brother and that he's kind of gone down a path that she couldn't follow. And like what she says to Rafa is like, if you asked her to do something, would she ever say no? It's like it's just such a nice parallel, and it's a subtle one that I just want to point out. So to me, what is happening is in the course of this episode arc, we are seeing Ahsoka face kind of all of her baggage, her shadows from being a Jedi. So we see the destruction of the Jedi that she was never made aware of, the pain that they have imparted, the fear that normal people have of the Jedi. She is confronted with a familial relationship that is not unlike her and Anakin, which is Anakin is always kind of trying to do this dangerous thing that he thinks is, the right thing to do. And, she is brought along for the ride. And at some point she had to say no. And she sees that Trace might be getting to that point, or would like to see her get to that point too. We also see many times how Trace acts, and Rafa is very much like kind of making lots of mistakes, much like young Ahsoka early on in the Clone Wars, like the Clone Wars movie. And what I find to be super interesting is like I've seen a lot of people frustrated with them, like they're genuinely frustrated with these two characters, and I can only imagine it's because they're not perfect, competent women. And it's like they make so many mistakes. And I think that that's actually wonderful that like we have these very genuine, like kind of they're doing the idiot thing occasionally and they're making a lot of mistakes and they're trying to learn from this.
I just wish the music would support them a bit better because they're all escaping the prison right now. And then they just run smack into each other and we get that massive comic motif in the music. And I'm wondering if the music isn't setting them up as patsies or considering them irrelevant.
Interesting. I didn't notice that this go around.
I loved it when they ran into each other.
Yeah.
Because it's like they're both going to the same place. They're sisters. They're probably going to wind up in the same place together. And then they fight with each other like sisters would about running into each other. What? Why? I was running to save you. I was running to save you. Yeah. I don't need you to save me. I don't need you to save me. And that was great. Then Ahsoka, tiebreaker Tano, comes in because how many times has she been the tiebreaker between Obi-Wan and Anakin in the past?
Yes. This triangle is very odd. This triangular relationship.
So I broke this down. This episode is very few scenes. We're only in like scene 3 here, where they're scene 1, they're in the jail. Scene 2, they're being tortured. Scene 3, it's now escape. And then once they get past the wall, we get to scene 4.
We get the city, yeah.
But before we get to the wall, partway through scene 3, this great moment of taking the leap.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And of course, Rafa's older, so she's going to make the leap first. And she's going to show everybody around her, it's not that hard. I got to get there first. I made the jump. It's not that hard. Mm-hmm. But time has gone by and the wealth gap has increased. I mean, the gap in the bridge has increased. And so it's much harder for Trace. In fact, she wouldn't have made it. She would be dead
if she didn't have Ahsoka there.
But she completely believed that was all under her own power.
Yeah. It is a lot like, an older sibling.
Yep.
Going through the wall first. They have to figure it out always on their own. And then the younger sibling always has help.
Yes.
Always. There's always parents. There's always
But it wasn't the same jump.
It wasn't?
It was a much further jump. The bridge was retracting.
Oh, I didn't see that.
The bridge is retracting like the whole time as Rafa comes up and makes the jump. Yeah. The bridge goes even further. She didn't she didn't let her sister go first. No, because she came first. So that's just how that works.
Yeah.
And the sister had to make a further jump. So of course she had to get help. But she still made the jump with the same effort and the same intention as the elder sister did. And then we've got our upper class. We've got our privileged person. The jump is nothing.
Yeah.
Everybody's worried about her.
Did she die? She gone? She's like, no, I'm over here.
I'm richer than I look.
Yeah. I'm more athletic. Yeah. This is a little social commentary. In our
oh, it totally was.
Yeah. That was interesting. Wow.
I don't know if that was intended to be that way. It was just a nice dramatic moment, but I sure saw the metaphor in that. So.
Hello.
Modern capitalism? Yeah.
Well, there's been a few of those. Like the first episode had a lot of that like discussion about stuff. Upper world versus lower world.
Totally. The privilege of the Jedi.
And then immediately after this, they run into the guy in the city asking them for credits.
Yes. And that begins us into scene 4. And I literally wrote, weird homeless guy.
I mean, he also had a bottle in his hand, so he may have been intoxicated.
Sure. I'm going to remove homeless. Weird drunk guy.
Yes.
Out of work drunk guy. Because he's asking for credits. He's looking for help, which is probably a hard place to ask for help on Obadiah.
I want to talk about this scene.
Sure.
Okay, so thought experiment. He approaches them because they look like they have money. And Rafa's like, do I look like I have money? And he's like, I wouldn't have approached you if you didn't have money. She probably does have money. And if they had given him a small amount of money, would he have turned them over?
Well, if this was a fantasy story, they would have given him money because they would have known he's relevant. But
He's
in
an
science
NPC.
fiction, we are shown more disparity,
Right.
with less care to that disparity, and as a result, he turns them over.
And the backdrop of all of this conversation, I know Ahsoka has no money.
Yes.
But the backdrop of all of this conversation is Ahsoka talking about how she loves to help everybody, or she needs to help everybody, and literally did nothing for this man asking for help.
Yep.
I don't even know how to process this. Like,
she makes some strange decisions in this episode that I would like to talk about in a bit.
but and then Rafa doesn't give him money. We don't actually know if they had anything. We assume she doesn't, but she also doesn't seem like the type of person that would give away, the extra credits in her pocket, because she always is looking for the thing that will help her, get ahead, right? Yeah. So losing those couple of credits in her pocket means that she couldn't maybe get off the planet or get away or, start working on her own ship again, like the new ship, because she's already trying to convince her sister to give up on the Angel. Like, I'm trying to wrap my head. There was a lot said in this episode, and it's like subtle stuff too. And having the backdrop of the moral conversation, like Ahsoka saying, which I do believe Ahsoka believes that she is a good person, but literally smacked in the face with somebody she could potentially help, she doesn't. It's the idea that you can't help everybody. I don't know. I'm struggling with this one.
Well, let's just be clear.
Yeah.
I paused the scene after he finishes talking to the Pikes. He's got a bottle in one hand and nothing in the other. So the Pikes didn't pay him either.
Yeah.
And he still ratted them out.
Yeah.
So even if you're going to turn down somebody who's asking you for money, do so with compassion, and recognize their humanity. Don't do what Rafa did, which was completely dismiss the person, make it about herself and not about the ask.
Yeah.
And offend the person so that when the cops come looking later, they're not going to point you out.
I mean, they're not good cops, but...
No, but... I mean, this is their homeworld. They're the authority. When the authority comes looking for you later.
Yeah.
They have a prison. Now I'm wondering if they are the cops.
I mean, they probably are.
And then I kind of feel like we get a 16-second scene, which is what this whole episode, this whole circular episode is about.
There's actually one more moment.
That's true.
That's really important, which is that...
Is it when they ride the other ship and they crash yet another passenger vehicle and the driver's like, why? And like, I was like, are they about to smash into somebody's house and kill their parents?
That would be...
Oh my God. I was like, this is leading up to this exact... that wasn't what you were trying to talk about, was it?
No, but that's really funny because I feel like Star Wars should repeat but move forward, right? So it's cyclical, but it moves forward. It's like rolling. Whereas when Star Wars is done weirdly, it repeats almost exactly. Okay, so there's the moment where Rafa tells Ahsoka, like, that sounds like something somebody I used to know would do. And it's like in reference to her mom.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting to be like, they're missing something. All of these women are actually missing mother figures, and they're missing like true parental figures in their lives. And it's not through any choice of any of their own. But they know they should try to help others, but like when you're just trying to live day to day, how can you?
Well, in a great segue, we get a mother character
literally
right up
screen.
next.
I know. So we get 3 Mandalorians who, well, one Mandalorian passes Ahsoka on the street, is like, oh, Ahsoka Tano, what? And then they're above the city in disguise with their cool cloaks over helmets. Is not a look I would have pictured for Mandalorians, but there you have it.
So cool.
They're all Owl Clan, like in design, and we hear Katie Sackhoff's voice as Bo-Katan.
And Sharmila Devar.
Yes, who is Ursa Ren.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Ursa Ren? She is Sabine Wren's mama.
Yeah, that
Not
always
yet.
disappointed me.
Not yet.
I always wanted Sabine Wren's mom to be Satine, and then there was always going to be a question about Obi-Wan's true dedication to
No.
the Jedi ways, but no.
Satine and Obi-Wan's child is Corky.
I don't know who that is, but I hope people who are listening love that.
It's Bo-Katan and Satine's nephew,
Oh, okay.
who kind of only looks like Bo-Katan, but they don't have another sibling. He looks like a combination of Obi-Wan and Satine.
Is it just me, or does Bo-Katan sound like a retirement facility in Florida?
Yeah.
But I know that's Boca Raton. But like, it's so close.
Or some sort of martial art.
Maybe, yeah. Or like,
Yeah.
I practice with the bow and with the katana.
So originally when I heard Ursa Ren's like character's voice, I swore it was the armorer from
Oh, really?
from The Mandalorian. Yeah, I had to look it up, and I had to look up. I went back to the episode of the some of the episodes of Rebels to hear her voice actor, and it is that person who played Ursa Ren in Rebels. So it's okay. I just like it. Just sounded so much like Emily Swallow. Yeah.
Nope.
Characters that have not been exterminated due to the Empire yet.
Yet.
And they have a common enemy. Who is their common enemy?
Ahsoka Tano.
No. And I'm literally raking my brain because we now, like, this is just leading in very obviously into Maul, but
Yes.
into Maul coming back because we know based on the previews and stuff like that. But I'm raking my brain if Ahsoka and Maul have ever met.
I couldn't tell you.
Like before this point. And I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so we're into speculation land. And I know we're not done the episode yet, but I just have to like take
That's
aside.
okay. We're in the donut hole of this episode. These three Mandalorians are not part of the circle
No.
of this episode. They are the donut hole, to follow a Knives Out analogy.
Yeah, little Benoit Blanc
Yeah.
in our donut hole in the middle of our mystery.
Which shows us the relevancy of the donut that we're going through.
Oh, that makes me sad. But to your point and your concern about Rafa and Trace, what would make Ahsoka Tano want to go to war with Maul?
Well, let's conjecture when we get there. There's a couple things that have happened in the episode that I think are very much worthwhile talking about here.
Yeah, no, I know. I just like I have a bad feeling now that I'm thinking about it in more detail about like, hey, common enemy. She really hasn't met him, and I'm happy to be wrong about this one. I don't remember her meeting him at all, but maybe I'm wrong. But if they haven't met, it's like what causes her to like want to go after him?
Yeah.
Cuz like yeah, there's a lot open there.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But first, we need to have a severe talk, Star Wars, about walls, railings, and safety measures around elevators and lifts. Because
The Pikes don't care about safety.
that was one of the most heinous deaths I've ever
Can you describe what happens?
not witnessed
Okay.
in a cartoon.
Okay.
Because she's heading for Rafa
Mhm.
is on the lift with the Pike, hits him in the back of the head. They get into a tussle. She gets pushed back. The lift starts to go up. She grabs onto the Pike. He grabs onto her. As she's going up, she won't let go of him. He's hanging off of the lift. Trace grabs hold of Rafa. Ahsoka grabs hold of Trace. the three of them start to lift up into the air. There is a sickening squelch and a person's cry that is immediately cut off. And then the three fall back down to the ground in a little heap together. Oh, it's so cute. They fall into a pile.
Did he get cut in half?
He got total recalled.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Like cut right in half. I was just, what are you doing, Star Wars?
War in Stars?
Just put walls in your elevators, put rails on your walkways.
There would be less death in the Star Wars if they actually had standard security measures in place for
I know that
safety.
Railings and walls, they take away from the ability to have these nice approaching shots from cameras, and they cut people in half because you got a railing there for safety, and it interferes with the sight lines. But you don't have to worry about that. You're an animated show, so put the railings in there. just please. just for me and half a pike.
Less Greeblies, more railings.
Yes.
2020.
Bob Ross of Star Wars animation. Just paint a little happy little railing.
Just a happy little railing.
Doesn't have to be a nice wall. There's going to be a lot of them.
Such a weird hill to die on. This is your hill, I suppose.
It will always be my hill. Okay. And then we get to essentially the last scene of the show.
Yeah.
Scene 5. I've broken them into larger arcs.
I do want to talk one moment about, so all this time they're like trying to get to the Silver Angel.
Yes.
And
Parked on high, and
Trace is like, the angel, it's still okay. And Ruff is like, I don't care about the angel. I'll buy you a new ship. And she's like, but it is my bliss. I'm following my bliss. See me go. And yeah,
I feel like you haven't really built anything to know. Like, she built a ship all by herself.
I appreciate this, but
I had a neighbor who built
I'm doing it from Rafa's perspective, in that like Rafa totally undervalues how important this ship is to Trace and what it means to her.
Rafa's a gambler and a destroyer. She is not a creator.
Yes. Ooh, I'm like it. Okay, let's talk about this for a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, Trace is a creator and Rafa is a destroyer. Definitely. We have a nice little balanced triangle here, and it's like a little because Ahsoka, this is really to show Ahsoka kind of two different paths of being, right? It's like, you know, living kind of the day-to-day, you know, what I have to do to get done is still this like selfish mentality in Rafa, older selfish mentality, even though she's justified in so many ways, because like what other choice does she have? Well, the other choice is Trace. She works on building her own ship. She wants to do things kind of the right way as much as possible, taking honest work, you know, charging people for that work, etc. She kind of does things the way that she can. And we even have that conversation about why Trace took in Ahsoka, tying back again to their mother, which was just, it was really interesting. And this is all just to kind of show, I think, Ahsoka, the two different perspectives.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. That may come to pass in the next couple episodes. We'll see.
It's been internally consistent, at least within this arc,
right,
which is nice. Yeah,
and the whole reason that Trace is befriending Ahsoka and creating a relationship there is because that's what her mother would have done. Whereas Rafa just wants to cut her ties with Ahsoka, and if Ahsoka had fallen off the bridge, that's perfectly fine. You know, we don't need her to keep going. Let's just destroy relationships wherever she can.
Yeah, really interesting.
But the angel still sits on high.
Yes, it does.
Because they get captured.
Yes, and back in prison.
But just two of them. Because I felt one of the most important lessons we learn in the entire episode happens right now.
Okay.
When Ahsoka gets free And the Pike leader says, "Did you honestly think you'd get away with fooling a Pike?" Because they thought they'd fooled the Pikes, right? They got away.
Yeah.
They captured them. And he's like, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you right now. Any moment, your death is nigh. I don't even care where the spice is anymore. I'm just going to kill you. Oh, look at me. And then Ahsoka gets enough time to attempt a rescue, which is what he was planning all along.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another lesson for Ahsoka that rashly charging in to save your friends, to do the good thing, is not necessarily the right thing.
The old Mace Windu way of thinking.
Yeah, or exactly what Anakin would have done. Just charge headlong into it, nary the consequences to yourself.
Yeah.
There's no real ramification to others in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
She tries desperately to rescue her friends here.
And they're all back where they started at the beginning of the episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, cue the music. It's time for death count.
Okay. We've actually had a death count this episode for our Clone Wars special report. And over to Kyle.
I can unhappily inform you there was a total of 16 deaths.
What? Wow.
I know.
They made up for the last 2 episodes.
16 Pikes die.
Oh my god. What about that droid? Did he die?
No.
Oh.
The droid just got stunned.
Torture droid did not die.
So, who did all of this slaying?
Was it Rafa?
No. Rafa killed one droid. Sorry. Rafa killed one Pike.
Okay.
The one she held onto.
Oh, yeah.
And refused to let go of.
You're right. Was it Ahsoka?
Ahsoka killed 4 and then basically killed 2 others by picking them up and holding them steady and still for Trace to shoot. And get compliments from her sister on.
Oh, right.
Which I still want to talk about.
Oh my god, that scene.
Like,
let me hold them up for you to slit their throats.
Just, if we were playing Star Wars,
yes,
the old West End Games version,
you would take a dark side point.
I would have been given that player a dark side point. You use the Force to hold someone still and then pick them up so somebody else could kill them. Oh, but I didn't kill them. Yeah, but the intent was there.
Yeah.
Holy.
It was Trace?
Trace with 9 kills.
Wow.
Yeah, 9. The big one came with the 4 gathered around the door when she shot the canister of engine fluid or whatever it was and exploded. And we got a Wilhelm cry, which was just, what? Star Wars had stopped using those primarily. They've basically not used them. There weren't any Wilhelm cries in TROS. I don't recall a Wilhelm cry in TLJ, but now we're getting another Wilhelm cry? Come on, Star Wars, don't play with me like this. Yeah. I used to live for episodes with a Wilhelm cry.
Consistency, please. Just more Wilhelm screams.
Yes.
That's interesting. Okay.
Wow. So we're back in jail.
Yep.
And a lot of people are complaining about this episode because they're like, well, nothing changed. They just went back to where they were. You could have just not watched this episode and you'd be fine. But no, you wouldn't, because the journey isn't a physical one in this episode.
No, it's all emotional.
It's all interrelational.
Yep.
The relationships with these people change over the course of their journey to end up right back where they were before. But
transformed in the conversation.
Well, because they needed to learn to work together and they needed to learn from past mistakes. Especially Rafa.
Yeah.
Who finally admits at the tail end of the episode, I should never have taken this job.
The most important thing that she learned.
Then we get Ahsoka's, we live and learn, Rafa.
Yep.
At the end, credits roll.
Yep.
Which is like, have you learned, Ahsoka?
I don't think she has yet.
Because I think your learning's about to come, Ahsoka.
The day will be rued by you soon.
She made some bad choices. She used her Jedi powers in ways that were not, that they were beneficial, but could she have done something different? Absolutely. I mean, the 4 that she fought up top, she didn't kill any of them. She just knocked them all out.
Mm-hmm.
But wow.
I mean, I'm happy that we get like Ahsoka making not the greatest choices, because it shows that this is very difficult for her to not know where she's going and what she has to do.
Yep.
I think that's important.
And I think she's still trying to figure out if these people are important to her.
Yeah, and if she's where she should be, right?
Yep. She doesn't have a choice right now. You have 0 choices.
In so many ways, it is back to that conversation. Like, she is doing what she has to do to survive right now, just as much as Rafa would.
Yep.
And Trace is the only one who's like, Silver Angel! Like, this is what's important to me and what this represents to me.
Yeah, do you think Trace is going to get to learn anything in the course of this? Will she have any true character growth?
I think she may put her foot down with her sister, and if that happens, then I would count that. Learning to say no to her sister would be important. I think that if she actually was able to express how important the ship was and what the ship represents to her sister, saying, you know, no, I don't want to do anything underworld related. I don't want to do spice running. I don't want to do smuggling. I want to do honest jobs, because that seems what Trace's thing is all about. I think that would be the growth that we should see from her over the course of this arc.
Cool. I want to see...
Like, Rafa has the most to grow, and Ahsoka as well, but I don't know that we're going to actually see it yet.
Ahsoka becomes this essential, like, guardian of the light, this white spirit. She becomes
eventually
fulcrum.
Yeah. Well, no, and she becomes like almost like this Force priestess by the end of Rebels, right?
Exactly. She's nowhere near that yet.
No.
But I'm intrigued and interested in where her story's going to go, and I like how many women are around her. Yeah,
there was 6 women this episode.
Yep.
I don't think we've seen that many women in an episode of the Clone Wars.
And a hammerhead and a pirate guy.
Yes.
Which I'm sorry, I really wanted to know where those guys got off to.
That Ithorian was wearing almost like a swimsuit.
Yeah.
I wanted to know where he got his swimsuit from.
I just wanted to know where they were going to go next after they got out of the jail too.
Yeah.
I really want to see that duo. They made such a cool duo.
They were like Pa Nababa and Dr. The 2 guys from the cantina in A New Hope. They were who showed up in,
a little bit
Rogue
like
One.
that, hey?
Like, I hope we get to see those 2 again, and he's still wearing his swimsuit.
Yes.
Yeah. You want to talk back to the fortune cookie moral of the episode and how it related to all this stuff?
Well, because everything comes back full circle in the donut episode.
Yeah, this was a donut episode.
We started here in the prison of our own minds and our own past transgresses. So here we are once again back there.
It was a very psychological, like, discussion the whole time, and the action was just there to force them to have different discussions at different times.
Yep. So who was this line most relevant to in this episode?
I'm going to say Ahsoka.
See, I would have said Rafa.
I mean, I can see Rafa, but I think that this is all about, like, understanding that she was a Jedi. She had done things that she considered good. Now she knows maybe aren't as good. She considers herself to be a good person, and so she's going to try to move forward and continue to be that good person with or without the Jedi.
I fully agree, arc-wise, that each one of these morals is super relevant to Ahsoka overall, but I just don't feel like she's come full circle yet.
Oh, no.
Whereas this
Rafa did,
is a full circle for Rafa, because she starts saying, I'm not responsible for this. You dumped the spice. You had the terrible plan.
Yeah.
I'm the one who gave us the opportunity, and you 2 squandered it.
And she learns
then she's
by the
like,
end. Yeah.
right, some opportunities are not meant for you. They're not to be acted upon because you're not ready for them yet. Or they're too much trouble for you than they're worth.
Or they will hurt others.
Yes.
That cause and effect, because the outcomes for you are just so selfish. Like, and that's the argument that Ahsoka and Rafa were having, like, even last episode, still continuously, like, coming over, right? And
Yep.
And there is a fact, and the best you can do is try to minimize the negative consequences of any action that you do.
Yep.
That's the best you can do.
Man, the Pikes are smart.
They are.
So smart. Okay, some trivia.
Okay.
Question
Oh, no.
for you.
Okay.
I'm excited about this.
Okay.
Who is the voice of the beggar?
D. Bradley Baker.
Damn it. Okay. Who was the torture droid?
Tom Kane.
Damn it. I'll get you yet.
Okay.
Who is the voice of Marg Krim? If you don't know the voice actor, that's fine. You might not, because this is his first character in Clone Wars this season.
Oh, I don't know.
And he's super excited to be back. Like, his Facebook is just full of how excited he is to be back.
Krim. And
he did the voice of Marg Krim.
He was the main Pike guy?
Yes, that's the main Pike guy.
He had the cool hat.
Sure.
I'm trying to remember the voice. Can I quickly listen to it again?
No. You must
remember.
now attempt to figure out
remember.
who he is.
I don't remember what it sounds like, and if I can quickly just listen to it again, I can maybe try.
So I think I want to say that Marg Krim isn't the leader guy. That might be Fife is the leader guy. I don't recall.
Okay.
There's two characters, two named Pikes.
Okay.
There's the leader and the second guy. And one of those two, Fife and Marg Krim, one of those two is voiced by D. Baker Bradley.
Okay.
D. Bradley Baker.
Yes.
So it's Fife that is voiced by D. Marg Krim is voiced by Stephen Stanton.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. So who does Stephen Stanton voice?
Oh, I know two other voices.
All right.
Voices.
He voices?
So he voices Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Rebels episodes of Twin Sons. And he also voiced the protocol droid that's Chopper's, like, best friend, who's the, like, sounds like he's like, and I should know his name because
he's a droid and you love droids.
I love droids. Yeah,
okay. Yes.
But he's like he does, like, the Marvin the Paranoid Android voice.
He does a bigger character's voice in Resistance. Do you know who that is?
In Resistance?
In Resistance.
Yes.
Who?
Isn't he one of the aces?
Yes.
He is.
Marie Claire sits there and she pictures voice modulating
He's
frequencies
Griff?
in her head. Yes, of course it's Griff.
Sorry.
We'll come back to Griff in a moment. Who does he voice from Clone Wars, though?
From Clone Wars?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Stephen Stanton did Clone Wars voices.
Yes.
It's going to be something weird like the Twi'lek ambassador.
No, it's a much more memorable character than that.
Oh, really?
Indeed.
Cad Bane.
No.
Oh.
He voiced Maz Amata.
Who?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Maz Amata?
Yeah.
That character from season 3-4. I don't remember exactly where they fit into the picture, but he also voiced Tarkin.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Now, the reason why I wanted to come back to Griff, well, why Griff was important in regards to Stephen Stanton is because I checked out Stephen Stanton's Facebook today.
Yeah.
And he's like, be like Griff and self-isolate. And he dressed up like Griff, did his hair and facial hair like Griff, and he had a picture. He took his TV in the background and put a picture of Griff's Acer pilot, Acer ship on the back there, and sat in his awesome room where I guess he has, like, theaters and whatnot.
Does he have the helmet?
Dressed like Griff. Yeah, the helmet is sitting in front in, like, the foreground of the picture.
Like, we didn't get so much Griff in Resistance. Like,
no, in the last couple episodes we did, though,
we did
right?
get
Like,
more,
we really got some good Griff time. And I just loved, there were 6 guards in this episode. Guard was voiced by D. Guard 2 was voiced by Tom Kane, and guards 1, 3, 4, and 5 were all voiced by Stephen Stanton. So all your secondary pikes were voiced by those guys. AP5.
AP5, who is the best, most grumpy droid in existence.
Yes.
He's the best. And he sacrifices himself, and it made me sad.
Oh, did he? I don't remember that part. This episode was directed by Saul Ruiz and Bosco Ng.
Mm-hmm.
So another tag team direction. I think we're going to get tag teams for all of them because there was probably a principal director on the original episode and then a director for the remake of the episode.
Probably. There's always also a supervising director too.
Well, that's listed further down. But these two directed this episode. Great job. I really liked the flow of this episode. It felt short, and it's a full it's a full episode.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the full 22 minutes and all. Written by Dave Filoni and Charles Murray. So yet again, more known names, established writers in the universe. So we talked a little bit about Stephen Stanton. We talked a little bit about some of the other voice actors, but those are voice actors. So what I really want to talk to you about, one of the other things that gets listed in animated groupings afterwards, we got CGCG Inc. earlier.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk to you about LA Studios Inc.
Okay.
So I recommend go have a look on the website for LA Studios Inc. They also own a company or a couple of other shops called Margarita Mix. And this is where voice actors go to record their lines if they don't have their own established home studio. This is a full-on gorgeous studio in Los Angeles itself.
Well, and also Dave Filoni likes to have people all record together as much as possible. So
this would
be
give
the place.
You that for sure.
Yeah.
So LA Studios Inc. itself has only 5 employees.
Okay.
Which seems like a small amount, but each of those studios, like I mentioned, because there's 4 of them in Los Angeles area, and LA Studios is the parent company that owns all of them. There's basically 5 or 6 in each. They then have administrative teams and whatnot. So I would assume that LA Studios Inc. has about 50 employee level, and they're full of, master's degree in audio engineering and technical whatnot. They have been around since 1985.
Wow.
So they've been around since analog sound, where analog splicing and cutting was done, and they have constantly and consistently updated their technology through the years. And all these pictures are so gorgeous, Marie Claire. I'm like, oh, my basement studio is so nice. These are professional studios with the soundproof glass in between the tech people and the performers. Yeah. But then there's like couches behind where all the producers and directors would sit and talk to the audio engineers. You know those scenes in like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel where she's recording something and there's people standing behind the people who are doing the work?
Yeah.
And they're like, can she say it's softer and sultrier? And the person looks to the behind them like, okay, and then they push a button and then they tell them, can you try softer and sultrier? And then the actor does, yes, of course I can do that if you would like. Anyway, LA Studios Inc. is the Star Wars' animation group's thing. They use them for pretty much everything, but the recording engineer and the dialogue editor is not necessarily the same person. So it's like they cycle through, or whoever is available on that day for those recordings is going to do that processing work. Basically the work of what we do when we edit the podcast.
Yeah.
They do that to get the cleanest samples of the sound, to get it sounding as good as they possibly can. And then they send it off to then be put into the pipeline process and connect up with.
Probably with Skywalker Sound, like they take that and then add in like all the dialogue and the sound effects and everything.
I actually think that it comes together, not necessarily at Skywalker Sound, but the funny thing is on the exact same page, and I was going to talk about this probably another episode down the road, but on the exact same page as LA Studios Inc. at the top, Skywalker Sound is then listed next with another group of names. The interesting thing is that the indent for all of the LA Studios Inc. stuff has all of the music composer people, so the Kiners and David Russell. Those guys are listed within the within the LA Studios Inc.
Interesting.
grouping, not Skywalker Sound. So,
Huh.
I wonder if they're connected or related at all in
I
regards
don't
to that.
know.
But this episode was recorded. The recording engineer and the dialogue editor for this episode was Carlos Soto Longo. And Carlos, this is his first Star Wars episode. Actually, I couldn't find him very easily on IMDb either. I'm wondering if this is his first. And I follow that up by the further wondering, you always look for 2 instances of proof. Mm-hmm. Well, on Stephen Stanton's Facebook page, I was actually not looking for Stephen Stanton today. I was looking for Carlos, and Stephen Stanton's standing next to Carlos in a picture, and he's like, here I am with Carlos. It's his first. He's so excited. He's in Star Wars gig, and I'm back too, people.
Oh my God. The proof is on the Facebook page.
Kinda, yeah. So
your research is the best.
Maybe he's been connected to Star Wars in the past, and it's just not fully articulated in IMDb, because really, how many people go looking for recording engineers and dialogue editors? Well, you know what? I do. And I appreciate your work, Carlos Soto Longo. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing your name more often.
I actually have some production news.
Oh.
Yeah. So this week, Wednesday, I actually recorded an episode of Meta Music with Christy Carew, and we had a special guest. Ooh. It is Nolan Markey, who is the orchestrator for Kevin Kiner for all of these Star Wars projects.
That's cool.
So since Rebels started...
What's an orchestrator?
Ooh, an orchestrator is the person that takes the composition of the themes and then basically crafts it out to the whole orchestra and gets to kind of make all the decisions to make it sound full for the full orchestra.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because normally a person who's banging out the music, Mr. Kiner himself, he's just putting in a piano and he's got general ideas and themes for how it might fit elsewhere. He's like, this is the song, now make it something an orchestra would do. Because
they always record all Rebels and Clone Wars episodes in front of a full orchestra.
Yes. So
yeah,
cool.
And so we get to hear all about Nolan Markey's background, how he got this gig, how he's a young baby boy. No, he's in his 20s. He's
an adult. He's probably built an entire starship on his own right now.
It's interesting because he got his gig through his love of Star Trek.
Yeah.
But he is still like a massive Star Wars fan, which is really, really great. And he works directly with Kevin. So he works directly with Kevin, Sean, and Dean.
And what's his name?
Nolan Markey. And he told me, and he's going to explain a little bit, that he actually got to compose a couple of cues for Clone Wars Season 7.
Cool.
Yeah, but they're upcoming. So, and even after...
I can't wait to find his name in the credits.
When our Meta Music episode comes out, which will be on April 23rd. So, something to look forward to.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I am looking forward to next week's episode because I really want to know how they're going to get out of prison. The exact same thing I said last week. So, but I'm also excited because there's things I want to talk about for next week's episode already too. So.
That's awesome. So
hit me up.
Next episode is Together Again. Ahsoka bargains for the sisters' freedom and makes a startling discovery.
Does it say?
No, I added that. That
was a good ad.
Yeah.
They probably should have put that in the copy.
I mean, it's Maul. Spoiler alert. It has to be.
Does it? I mean...
He is the donut in the middle of the hole.
He is the... Is there a donut inside this donut hole?
Yes, there is a donut. There's a smaller donut inside of this donut hole. And that is the common enemy that the Mandalorians were referring to. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I wrote down a note that I wanted to follow up on, but I could not figure out what it was in my notes. And I think it has to do with the planet Karnak? Cadillac? What was the planet?
Obadiah?
No. The one that Bo-Katan comments on, and she's like, is that the Jedi from Cadillac? Long and dark, shiny and black?
I don't know.
I'll give you... Yes, Karlak. So hopefully that gets answered.
Hopefully.
Because it was Ahsoka Tano on Karlak, whatever that planet is. I don't even remember the episodes. But Bo-Katan is right. It is, in fact, the Jedi on Karlak. And they do, in fact, have an enemy in common. It's Mace Windu. But, like, let's...
For Mace Windu. Well, I'm looking forward to this. I don't even know if it's really an end of an arc because it kind of goes directly into the next stuff. So we'll see. I think it's going to be the end of the Martez sisters. Oh, I did have one
Don't
last.
say that.
I meant the end of us seeing them in the show. I hope they don't die.
I hope it's not. I think they might be there for the rest of it.
That would be
in the background.
Super cool. To have collected the Martez sisters and bring them on adventures. I think that would be really cool. But one last thing. We were right. Star Wars had made the Martez sisters' parents pre-dead.
Yep.
And they didn't.
Oh, so I guess that makes 18 deaths this episode.
I mean, do we count them?
I think we have to.
It happened way in the past.
But, yeah.
It was like an audio.
I know
flashback.
Rafiki says that it doesn't matter. It happened in the past.
Oh.
You're like, who the heck are you talking about?
I'm like,
but it still hurts.
It still hurts, yeah.
And it's therefore still relevant because I found it shocking and I found it to be relevant. So
just reevaluate the Jedi a lot.
Yeah.
Especially Jedi Master.
Look, if your name is Luminara, you are supposed to be the light. Like, that is what your name means.
No, she's wearing all the black robes. She dresses in all black. Where the clues were already there. We know people that dress in black are bad.
No, she taught Kanan.
No, she didn't.
Yeah?
No?
That was his master.
No.
His master was Luminara
Depa
Unduli.
Baloba.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have less concern and consideration for Luminara Unduli.
No, he just thought she was really cool and thought she could do a better. He thought she could do a better job with Ezra when he heard that she was still around.
That's the writing's on the wall on that one. We already knew how her protege and her student turned out.
Obi-Wan should have never trained anybody else. Because, gosh, he failed on that one.
Who did Obi-Wan train?
Anakin Skywalker, who turned into Darth Vader? Like,
yeah,
the logic is that, like, you just...
He did the best with what he had.
All right.
You can only throw clay on the wheel so many times.
So maybe who you were does not have to define who you are.
No, it's what you're doing right now. Stop hitting me in the head with a stick, Rafiki.
Okay, Kyle. Thank you for joining me with this episode. We did really, really well. We talked so much about this episode.
We really did. I didn't think we'd have too much to say about it, but...
It was a donut of an episode,
yeah.
So thank you, Benoit Blanc. Benoit Blanc. Black is different than white.
And thank you, Dave Filoni and Charles Murray.
Yes. And where can people find you if they are looking for you online?
Much like Rafa, I'm easy to find. You can just search me out on Twitter at TavernTalesDM.
Awesome. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to What the Force. I'm Marie-Claire Gould, your host. Our music is orchestral music composed by Christy Carew for What the Force. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/whattheforce. We'd like to thank all our patrons, especially those who love and are obsessed with What the Force. Melody, Night Huntress, In Wild Space, Susan, Jessica, Brad, Anna Perez, Macau Mom, Neil, and James. Make sure you like and subscribe on your podcast app of choice or on YouTube. Leaving a 5-star review on iTunes helps other people find the show. You can connect with us on Twitter at What the Force Show, What the Force Podcast on Facebook, or on our website, whattheforce.ca. We also have a new Discord. Links are available in the liner notes. Feel free to reach out and start a conversation. Cheers.